Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to shoot.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, ready? I'm going to sing the audio. It's all okay. Please try that. Okay. Right, Nick, welcome to the Oompa Loompa show.
Thank you for having me.
I found your bike through Instagram. We've got a lot of spectators behind the camera. One of it is your friend, which unfortunately I cannot convince him to come. I was trying to think whether I could change his mind after today, but we'll see. And also, Comrade, I see just now he came in a Rafa shirt. See, Caleb forced him to go and change into a Comrade bike, man. But anyway, welcome. And
Thank you.
could you just give us an introduction about yourself?
Yep. Hi, my name is Nicholas. I'm actually a COVID cyclist. Started cycling during the COVID period. And yeah, that's it.
So 2 years.
2 years.
I heard you had a different bike before this. You had a standard.
My bike journey will actually be quite interesting. I've got went through a long journey of number of bikes. Like people say, you buy cheap. I mean, not exactly cheap. You buy the wrong thing, then you keep buying, right? Yeah, so I started off with a decathlon bike, actually, a Triben, and I wanted to just see whether it was really something that I was going to do. Then I think got the wrong size, fell off during my first ride. But I think after that, joined because of an ex-colleague who told me to ride, right? So I decided to keep pursuing it. Yeah. So went from a Triben to actually a Foldy Cam Gold.
A Triben? So Triben was a road bike?
Triben was a road bike, yeah. Then went to a Foldy. Then I thought, actually flat bar, not too bad. So maybe I thought I'll go for a bigger size flat bar with a Merida speeder. So I stuck to that one for quite a fair bit. And then decided to go back to a drop bar. But this time I went with a Canyon grill.
Right.
Yeah. So again, had that for quite a while. Watched a GCN documentary on Reynolds, on Columbus. And I thought, really like steel bikes. Yeah, so I went on and got my first steel bike, which was a Fairlight second 2.5. And then after that, I got a standard trip work as well. Yeah.
Wow. So steel bikes.
Steel bikes, yes.
So steel is real or not? Everyone who has steel bikes always say steel is real, steel is real.
Let him has a feel of steel is real.
But you're a different situation, steel and then this, but I'm assuming you still have the steel bikes.
Correct. I still have the steel bikes, and actually that's still my favorite bikes as well, right? Steel is real, and I would say carbon is real as well. Any material is real. Yeah, but long distances, I would say that the steel is more comfortable.
I remember last time when one of the episodes, someone said that they bought a Triben and stuff. I told them, don't buy a Triben, just go for a decent giant bike. At least you can resell it. Would you say that people who want to start cycling, they should get really, really cheap road bikes like a Triben, or should they go for like a entry-level giant if you were to do it all over again?
If I were to do it all over again, then probably an entry-level giant or even a Canyon. These days is really quite cheap as well. I think I only went with the Triben because it was the lowest risk, right? Even if you can't resell it, it's not going to be like a huge punch to the wallet at the end of the day. Yeah.
So was it like a total write-off, or do you manage to at least sell half of the price?
I managed to get like 50% back.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad. That's like during COVID, I mean, everybody wanted to get into cycling.
Yes.
Okay, and wow, so you've tried various bikes, steel, and then onto this one. Maybe let's jump into this one.
Yep.
Never heard of this bike. By the way, one of your friends who I will not name here, he might not stay long, so he wants me to ask this question first.
Sure.
I'll give him the honor. And I was laughing when I saw this, right? And I said this will be the title of the video. So let me look for that question. Okay, how do you pronounce the brand of this bike?
Titici.
Titici.
Yeah.
So the question, why is this bike just not called Tits? Much more easy to pronounce.
I mean, personally, that's the short form that I give to it all the time. And honestly, when I first had that conversation with Caleb, I said, that's an unfortunate brand name.
Does it mean something in Italian? Or does it mean tits in Italian?
Actually, I have no idea what it means. I only know what the model name means because this was Titici Vento, and Vento means man wind in Italian.
Right.
Yeah, I need to check out what Titici means.
Okay. Caleb, can I get a Comrade shirt? Why I don't have? Okay, so obviously you got this from Comrade.
Yep.
He sells Titici. Tell us the process and the decision of getting this custom bike and the pain. Tell us more of the story of this.
Okay, so I mean, like I said, I had steel bikes, right? So I was taking my steel bikes onto rides with a lot of carbon people, and I was like, can't be I put this much effort and I'm still like getting dropped and all. Then I said, okay, it's either really gonna be my problem or it's gonna be a bike problem. So I thought the easiest way to test that out is to get a bike, right? So I was considering getting a carbon bike. Number one, to see whether it is really something that I would feel more effortless going on it. So I was talking to Caleb, and I said I was considering looking at the Scott, right? Then
Scott foil?
Scott foil.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I went to Italy and I met these guys from Titici, and so he told me the whole story." And I said, "Oh, okay, quite interesting." Went back home, I googled it, and I've always had this appeal of going with sort of like an unknown brand, and I thought, "Oh, handmade carbon sounds interesting." Like all my steel bikes, it was always going to be not a mass production kind of bike at the end of the day. So I thought, okay, this was something new, and yeah. So from then on, the conversation went on, and I said, okay. He said they were looking at a few people to start riding the bike so that they could bring the brand into Singapore. And I said, okay, I'll be his guinea pig.
Did it work out?
I guess so. I think we're one of. I mean, at the end of the day, the bike is really nice to ride. And I mean, honestly, on the first time when I got back on the carbon after riding steel, and I thought, wow, it was really effortless.
Right.
Right.
Wow. Okay. And like I said, I've never heard of this brand or this company. Is this a relatively new company or has it been around for some time?
It's been around for some time. Yeah. So actually, interestingly, they started making mountain bike frames at the start, and then. I think later on they merged with another brand to become Titici, and then that's when they started making carbon road bike frames. Yeah.
How long did it take for you to get this?
I think it was about 3+ months. Yeah.
Relatively fast,
Relatively fast, yeah.
including the paint job and everything.
Including the paint job and everything.
So I'm going to assume, like most other custom-made bikes, is what happens is you go to the shop. I'm assuming Comrade, they fit you up and they measure you and they send the specifications to the Italian manufacturer Titici. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So I mean, I already had my bike fit done previously. So all I did was just give the measurements on to Caleb. Right. And then there's a tool online at their website where you can play with sort of like the colors that they have. I mean, it's not like all the colors in the world based on their existing template kind of thing. So I just selected the colors that I want, and then they send back the design, and then I say, oh, could you add a little bit here and there? And that's what they do. Then they'll just say, okay, then we'll just add those and move on with the build. Yeah.
Are you impressed with the colors? Is this what you dreamed of it to be looking like, or was it a bit off?
No, I think it came out exactly what I thought it would be. A bit surprised with the yellow handlebar, but I don't remember the yellow handlebar. But I thought, okay, at the end it was
What do you
quite
thought it
nice.
was supposed to be, or what you wanted it to be?
I thought it was just going to be plain black, so yeah.
Oh, so it turned out better actually. Yellow.
Yeah, correct.
Right. Tell us about the color. I mean, people who don't know what does this look like, what color this is, which brand?
I think I work for DHL, right? So and I wanted to make sort of like a bike that fit the color as well. I'm really passionate about the brand, so I have a lot of DHL merchandise, and I thought, oh, it's time I get a bike that looks have the same colors, just without the branding itself. Yeah, I think some people say it looked like Iron Man. Some say McDonald's. So
McDonald's, yeah.
So I say, okay, I have career options in case.
Yeah, back to McDonald's if it doesn't work out. Also, the shoes, if you don't mind, if you could just kind of pick it up. These were also custom painted DHL shoes. If later we'll take some shots of this, but yeah, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so actually it started off with the shoes. So I really wanted, like, it's the lowest point of entry, right? And I thought I wanted to give custom shoes. And I actually was looking at Caitlin, which was someone that I saw on Instagram a couple of times. Then someone somehow tagged a local artist, HTFU Goods, right? And I went through and I looked at his work and I thought, oh, this is also very good. So PM him, asked him what's the price. Then he gave me the price and I said, okay. I said I would like to do sort of like a custom DHL shoe. So he came up with the design. I just told him roughly what I wanted on the shoes itself. Yeah. Then,
Can I have a look at it?
Yeah, sure.
So this, I'm going to guess, oh, okay, never mind, it's nimble. I thought it was like some Shimano RC shoe, but wow. And the paint doesn't come off? Stupid question, but...
I think if you wash it and scrub it hard enough, it will come off. So he will tell me to just gently use like sneaker wipes to clean the shoes off.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know if the camera can pick up. So it's a yellow DHL. You've got the DHL branding here, and a plane. Awesome, man. And it says here, will drop others. Is it also written on the other side? Is it the
Yeah,
same?
it's also written on the other
so it's a
side.
mirror.
The same. Yeah.
Wow, awesome, man. And can I
I
ask how much it cost to get the shoes painted?
The shoes painted, and his cost was $350. Yeah.
And how long does it take for him to get it done?
I think it depends really on his schedule as well. But I think he got this done in less than a month.
Oh, fast.
Yeah.
Okay. You wanted to say something about the shoes?
Yeah, I mean the stickers itself, I actually don't drop others. I'm very slow on the road. So.
Right. Okay. Let's head back to the bike. So Titici, is there a model for this?
This is the Vento. So this is their sort of like their all-round climbing bike. I actually wanted to go with the Aero version, but Caleb said maybe you try the all-round bike.
Why?
I think a bit old, so best after the back break, I'm going with a 2 Aero of a build.
All right. Maybe if you can comment a little bit on the riding feel coming from the Fairlight that you had and coming back to a carbon. And would you recommend this brand? Assuming you don't see Caleb here.
No, I mean, honestly, I think if someone tells me that they're looking for a custom carbon bike, then I'll definitely say look around and consider Titici. Right. I think the technology that they had with the tin top tube, which is said to reduce sort of the vibration that you feel, kind of hard for me to tell because I'm usually not attuned to a little bit of differences on the bike itself. But so far, it's been good. Right. And like I said, coming from steel to carbon, it really, really feels quite effortless to achieve the same kind of speed.
Right.
Yeah.
And in terms of acceleration, top speed, do you feel that it lives up to its name?
For sure. I mean, acceleration, at least off the traffic light, I can sort of keep up with the people on carbon bikes. Last time on steel bikes, it was like they will usually inch quite a fair bit ahead first. Surprisingly, my top speed is still on my steel bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe if you can just run through the bike, I think if you look at the screen, it's much more easier.
Yeah.
Let us know how do you kit this whole entire bike?
So I think most of the kitting is done, I would say probably 90% came from the recommendation of Comrade at the end of the day, right? So the Groupset is Dura-Ace, 12 speed. And I think I say, okay, if I'm going to spend this much on a bike, I might as well go with the best Groupset there is, right? So the wheels are Ascent Polaris, the 42, the new ones. And I thought my other wheel sets are also Wheel Angel, right? So, and Ascent being a local brand, always tried to support the local industry. So I was okay with going with the Ascent as well, right? Then the drop bars came with the bike itself. The handlebar came with the bike itself, and the saddle is actually a specialized power mirror saddle. Yeah.
Wheels, Ascent. I've interviewed Ching Xiang, who owns Ascent. You're not sponsored by him, right?
No.
So you bought this from Comrade?
Yes.
Okay.
If he wants to sponsor me, I don't mind.
I'm pretty sure he's willing to do something if he watches this video. Anyway, so you said you own Wheel Angels, also another local Singaporean brand. I think I've only filmed one of that. Doesn't seem to be as popular. But what got you into Wheel Angel?
I was just looking around for different wheel brands at that time. So there was obviously the usual suspects, right? The foreign brands from NVs and the rest. And then I stumbled across Wheel Angel. And their office wasn't too far away from me. And I thought, okay, it's quite nice. And they also had the Onyx hubs, which I really love. Right?
So that's the silent one, right?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, okay. The Onyx hub that when you owned, right, do you actually feel that there's zero resistance? Because they claim that there's no resistance because of the engagement. That's why it's so silent.
I honestly feels the same.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, honestly, it feels the same to me. And I think it really is just, I like it because it's quiet. Yeah. And a lot of people tell me that Onyx is heavier. I think even when I talked to Ascent about refitting it to an Onyx hub, he did say that it's going to be heavier at the end of the day.
Will you know how heavy these wheels are? Now that you've set it up. These are DT Swiss 240.
240.
And
yes.
this is the Ascent Polaris 42.
Yes.
Why didn't you go for a deeper one?
Um,
The 69, right?
yeah, but I mean, this is an all-round bike, right? So it's meant to be a climbing bike. It's meant to be okay on the road as well, on flats. So I didn't want to go too deep as well.
Okay.
And I think recently when I went to Batam and fought with the crosswind there, I think 42 is enough. I think if I was in 69, I would have been hanging on
Yeah.
for my dear life. Yeah.
Reviews of these wheels.
What kind of reviews?
Let's talk about, you said crosswinds. How does it fare with your other wheels that you own, maybe comparing it to another local brand like Wheel Angel, since you've owned that?
I would say it's always apple to oranges, right? Because the Wheel Angel that I had was on a shallower one as well. It's like 32 or 30 at the end of the day, right? So I would say when I was in Batam, these wheels, I really had to fight the crosswind. But I wouldn't say it's that bad until like, oh, I'm going to throw the wheels away. But yeah, I mean, it's been great so far. I think it rides really well. Yeah. And I think paired with a GP5K, I think that's the best combo that I found so far.
How do you think local brands like Ascent, Wheel Angels compare to other more renowned brands? Are they worth the money? Like, should someone spend money on a local branded pair of wheels? Does it actually make any difference?
I think it's always comes down to the point of how much you want to support the local industry, right? I think if you always think that the local brands can't keep up or can't do it, then there will never be a local industry to be built up. So I think people just sometimes have to really say that no, I can afford to pay that kind of price. And if there's a local brand that's comparable in quality, then go for it. Right? Yeah.
I think there's always that perception where local brands, I'm not going to lie, I might have, or I do have that perception that if I'm going to be paying so much for a local made product or a wheel, I might as well go for something more international. And for me to have that mindset is mainly because of secondhand value. Like I have envies, and the reason why I paid so much for it was because I think that I could sell it at I wouldn't lose so much. I might be wrong, but I haven't haven't posted it on carousels yet, so I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think compared to an NV, I think it will be quite different, right? I think the premium comes because of its warranty as well, right? And the fact that you go anywhere in the world, you can sort of change the wheels if something goes wrong. So I think if that's what you are after, then it's worth paying that kind of price. For me, I'm not that discerning in terms of what's the speed, what's the weight, like how the minute differences. So to me, a carbon wheel at the end of the day, from one brand to another, it's going to be roughly the same, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And satisfied with the wheel so far. Anything to mention to Ching Xiang if he were to change anything? So the previous guest I had, he said that he didn't like the decals, and he said it in front of Ching Xiang's face because Ching Xiang was here, and he said he was not. He thought that the decals could be a bit different.
I think there could be lesser decals.
He got to put his name out there, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with it at the end, but I mean, I think I was trying to stick some of my own stickers, and when I look at the wheel, I was like, oh, it's really not much space for me to put it there.
Right.
But I'm okay. I mean, I understand. And it's really quite muted anyway, so it's not like a bright, it's not like a zip where you see it like bright white there all the time.
Right. And just now when we were here, there were some customers of Bicycle Ranch Shane. One of the guys asked you about the Japanese wordings. If you could translate that to English for us, please.
So the sticker that's on top is on all my bikes. So its answer is pain is the answer. That's the
Pain is the answer.
Correct.
Is pain the answer?
pain is always the answer.
So it's not a bike.
It's not a bike. Yeah. So I mean, it's already proven. Like if you see my Strava, you go like, oh yeah, it's not. The bike doesn't make a difference.
Okay. And Groupset Dura-Ace are pretty standard. OSPW is missing.
Not a believer in it. I wouldn't pay that kind of price for it. Yeah.
Okay. And Wahoo speedplays. These are
Yes.
the new Wahoos, right?
Correct.
Reviews on this, because I think some people like the double-sided
So
lollipop.
I came from mountain bike cleats, right? So I think that was also the dual-sided, albeit was an appeal to me. But I will honestly say that anyone who said that Wahoo is easy to clip in, then they really have to go and try it first.
It's hard.
For me personally, on the standard tension clip, I couldn't clip in at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except on the trainer. On the road, I've I've never got it.
Right.
Yeah. So on the shoes that you see here, this is actually the easy tension cleats.
So how
This
does,
one's easier.
Right. I'm sorry, but I have not used anything outside of Shimano before. How does this cleat system work? Are they like Shimano's where you got to change this whole thing?
Even changing this, I think, will be it's a lot more complicated. So this is number one. Is that sleeve, right? And inside that's the whole mechanism itself. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the most expensive cleat system out there at the moment.
Because of multiple parts involved in this whole system.
Correct. And if this goes, then you have to change the whole thing. Yeah.
And how often do you have to change that?
And this is like, it's metal, right? So it's not like a plastic piece, right? Yeah. I mean, I haven't had to change it in a couple of months.
Right.
Yeah. So I hope it lasts longer than that.
And you say it's hard to clip in on the normal tension.
Yeah. So standard tension is the one that comes with the pedals. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I'm a noob and I don't know how to clip in. But yeah, I really couldn't. Yeah. So no matter how hard I press, like I said, this kind of amount of pressure that I'm putting onto the pedals cannot be it cannot be the way to clip in.
Right. And silly question, because the surface area of the pedal is relatively small.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be compensated by your whole entire shoe because it's so stiff, right?
Correct.
Do you feel, have you tried Shimano or any other systems, or this is the only one?
Shimano only on the mountain bike. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that does this surface area being so small, does it feel that it's not as stiff, or doesn't matter actually?
No, it's actually okay, because once you clip in, right, then this whole the whole system itself sort of powers it for you, right? Okay. So it feels okay.
And so this one comes with the power meter.
Yes, this is the one with the dual-sided power.
Okay. Let's move on to the rest of the bike. So then what do you have? You have the 3D printed saddle?
3D printed saddle, yes.
The S-Works?
The specialized one. I have the S-Works version as well. Didn't see the need to pay again that kind of price.
Oh, speaking of price, how much is this bike?
I think it's about 16K, 16 and a half.
How much is the frame?
The frame, I think, will be €7. I can't remember.
7K euros. Okay. And does the price vary according to paint scheme, or it's like fixed 7K?
No, it varies across. Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on the paint and how much customization that you want them to do as well.
How extensive can the customization get?
I think you can outright go out to them and say, I don't want to use your templates. I want these colors and this particular design, and I think they will go out and do it for you as well.
Can I replace this with tits instead of Titici?
That I don't think they will.
So the logo has to be there.
I believe so. I mean, like all brands, they'll definitely want to keep them.
Maybe if you pay them extra money, they won't mind taking it off. So I guess the special, the main selling point of this frame is the top tube, I guess.
Correct.
Because of how thin it is. We've got some questions on that, which we will move on shortly. Okay, and lastly, what is the weight?
Without the pedals, it was 7 slightly below 8.
Yeah. Slightly below 8.
Yeah.
Would you say that's a respectable weight?
I mean, for me, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I come from steel bikes where one is above 10, the other one slightly below 10. I even had a touring bike that was 18 kg before. So
18? Yes. Damn. What was that material made of? Alu?
Steel as well.
Steel?
Yeah.
And like, how far do you tour with that?
Didn't go very far, COVID times. Yeah. Then after that, I was like, I won't take 3 months off to go and cycle somewhere. I can't afford it. So then after that, I sold that bike off. But it was fun. I mean, I did RTI with it. I cycled many places around in Singapore with it. It was a very comfortable bike. It was a very heavy bike. It rode like a tank. Right?
Any more modifications, customizations to this bike?
No, I think it was pretty much came out to be
what you want.
What it was built.
Last question I always like to ask: if any dislikes?
Any dislikes?
Any dislikes or regrets?
I'll probably say that I'm not really sure I'm a fan of integrator bars at the end of the day. I think something that I can easily take out and fit in a different kind of bike bag, I think that's always a preferred option. But it's clean. I mean, yeah.
Did you go for a bike fit?
Yes, I did.
The first time, is it?
Yeah, the first time.
With
So I did 2 bike fits, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, why did you go for a second one?
So I did one with performance bike fitter at that time, where Gary was previously.
Oh, that's how you knew Gary. Okay.
Right. So I did one there. Then when I was building the standard with Cycle Project store, I thought I would give Fit School a try as well. So I went there as well. Yeah.
What were the two differences? Are they the same kind of fit?
I would say the approach is slightly different, right? I think with the first fit, there were a lot of, I think the use of the different tools that they have. Whereas with Fit School itself, it was more of his experience, his eyesight, and how he sees the fit as well. Yeah. But ultimately, I think when they both came out with the results, roughly the same. So I think I said, okay, at least it confirms that that's my size. Yeah.
Have you heard of ID Match?
Yes. Yeah.
Thoughts about that? Will you give it a try? Do you still need a fit?
I don't think I need a fit anymore. So unless I go and build a bike with One Bike Asia, then I'll probably give them a try.
Okay. To newbies out there, or even to me, will you be able to convince me to go for a bike fit?
I would honestly say, number one, it really depends how serious you are that you want to go into cycling, right? And at the end of the day, you're going to splash out thousands of dollars onto a bike, then you have to be sure that the bike fits you. Yeah, and I think we've heard enough stories of people out there who's gone and paid a lot of money for a bike. And after they say, oh, it's uncomfortable, they're getting knee pain, they're getting shoulder pains, they're getting numb hands and all. And then you find out that they've never done a bike fit, and then they'll tell you that, oh, so expensive, right? Oh, $600, it's $500. And then you'll say that, oh, but you just spent $5,000-$6,000 on a bike, right? That $500 could have helped you determine that it's a cheaper process at the end of the day. I think the value that you get out of bike fit, I think it's a lot if you're going to be taking cycling as a serious hobby. Yeah.
And I think you've come a long way because you had the Tri-Band, which was the entry of entryest level of bikes, and now all the way to somewhere, right at the top. I was once at that position where I would ride. I used to have a cheap bike, road bike, and I would look at these guys who have very expensive bikes, and I always wondered, how does it feel to be riding such a super bike, right? So to those who are watching, who probably who had just started, or to yourself, when you had the Tri-Band, how would you describe the feeling of spending so much money? Okay, I won't say so. It's a bit of money, but how would you describe that feeling of riding a super bike? Is it worth the money, or it has become a stage where it's just spending money, right? And
I think with this bike, I think it's a little bit different, right? Number one, I wanted the custom color, and I wanted something that's a brand that I've never tried before, right? So I think the value that I got out of this whole experience was a lot more than I expected. It wasn't just buying another bike, right? It's a bike that I really like riding, right? And it's a bike that I'll proudly sort of show it around as well, right? It's the same with my other bikes as well, right? Fairlight, because it was a gravel bike, and I do like bike packing and that stuff, and I hope to do those more as well, right? And Standard was a brand that I've always wanted, right? So with each of these purchases, it's always been sort of almost like a dream of mine to own something like that. So I said, so the money for me it's worth the value that I get out of it.
Okay. So now we move on to, we are already at 30 minutes. We move on to some of the questions that people have submitted about your bike.
Sure.
Okay, the first one. 80% of the questions are on the same question about the top tube, which you have mentioned earlier, which is their selling point, right? How thin it is. Actually, when I posted the IG story from a horizontal point or eye level view, it looks extremely thin. But if you look on top, it's actually pretty wide.
Yeah.
Right? So the question is, it's a very thin top tube. Are you not afraid of breaking? Can you sit on it, when you're waiting for the traffic lights? Yeah.
I mean, I think like you've mentioned many times that even if the top tube is not this thin, you really shouldn't be sitting on the top tube.
Yeah.
Number one. And two, with my weight, I don't think I'll ever sit on any top tubes. But I think it's safe. I mean, honestly, I'm not the first person in the world to own a Titici, and they've already done this, and this technology that they have has been around for many years. So if there's been failures or there's been bad news about it, I think we will have heard it by now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know I used to sit on my top tube, and someone commented, like, you shouldn't be sitting on your top tube. And I think there are videos out there online that sitting on the top tube can kind of sometimes damage the carbon. I'm not sure how true is that, but I never sit on my top tube, and I don't think people should be doing it.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I think people always talked about carbon as though it's such a fragile material, but it's still a very strong material at the end of the day, right? It's not like you can just break it into
Yeah.
half if you want. Yeah.
I've seen this video online. Last time somebody had a alu wheel and a carbon, and the guy just slammed it onto the ground. And obviously the alu one will break, but the carbon retains its shape, right? So it's actually very, very strong and light at the same time, which is the pros of having a carbon bike. Okay, next one. I guess this is your friend because the question is there a slot to tie a rope so you can climb and tow us up the climb? Must be a very fast rider up the climb, or is it the bike?
No, I think it's a misperception. It's a wrong image that they have of me. Yeah, it's just that I usually do power up a climb, right? So when I see a climb, I like climbing, right? So when I see a climb, I thought, oh, okay, it's time to accelerate. And yeah, so usually that's the case. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if they can attach a rope to my bike, I'll happily tow them up the climb.
I'll see you from a distance, man. This bike, I'll come and grab on your seat post and you pull me up the climb. Next question is, how many PRs have you smashed on this bike? Left anyone broken heart or in tears?
Sounds like another friend's question.
I think it's your friend.
But no PR. I mean, my PRs are quite easily broken, so anyone can break it. But like I say, I think a couple of PRs, like on West Coast Highway and all, I'm faster on the steel bike than this bike so far.
Right. Also, sorry, coming back to the top tube. Is there a weight limit on this kind of frame because the top tube is so thin? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like with any bike frames, there's always going to be a weight limit. Yeah, I hope never to achieve to reach that weight limit.
Okay. Are you sponsored by DHL to be riding this bike?
No.
Someone even commented, he got the wrong logo, man. He even asked, did FedEx sponsor this bike?
No. I mean, none of the stuff that I have with DHL merchandisers is sponsored, right? It's just, I'm just very passionate about the company I work for.
Right. Also, your buddy, I'm just going to give him another shout out. He submitted a few questions.
He should be on the show.
He should. He's looking away now. I'm going to ask one more question that he submitted. Is your beep or chamois DHL branded too?
No, haven't.
Or is even your house painted in yellow?
No, because then my wife will kill me.
Even your watch is yellow. Is that intentional?
It's yellow and red, and this was actually from a gift from the strap. At least is a gift from the ex-colleague who got me into cycling.
Okay.
And he stopped since.
Was it because he knew that you were so into your company? That's why he gave you yellow.
Yes.
With the strap. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Question was, where was it painted? And I actually asked you that question whether it was locally painted, but you said this came from Titici, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Why not a full Italian build? Very common question. Where is the Campi?
I don't know. I've always looked at Campi and I thought, everything is so proprietary to them. I mean, not proprietary. I mean, even with Shimano, it's proprietary to them, right? But it just seems so much more difficult to try and service and find the parts for it. And I thought, all my bikes are Shimano, so I
Do you agree it looks nice?
Brand. I haven't really actually seen a Campi.
Yeah, it's not common in
before.
Singapore, right?
Yeah.
I guess everyone has the same opinion that hard to service and a lot of, I guess, problems. I'm not sure if problems is the right word.
Yeah.
Last two questions. Some you might covered a little bit earlier. What made you choose this brand over the more mainstream brands?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I've shared, I think it was just the story that was an old brand in Italy, and it was handmade carbon, where they said they will actually, upon order, then they start building each bike one by one. So I think that was the biggest appeal to me versus a mainstream brand. Yeah, where it's essentially just a mass-produced brand. I pay the same kind of price for it as well.
So any issues, you go back to Comrade or you go to Titici directly?
I'll go back to Comrade.
You hunt him down.
Yes.
Okay, for those who don't know who Comrade is, if you could give a bit of review about them.
So I mean, Comrade is a local bike store, bike mag shop as well, right? And they carry a few brands from Titici to Giacotti and others as well. And Cirque Titanium if you're into titanium bikes, right? And so I know them through Rafa Cycling Club, right? And I've always sent my bikes to service with them. So I thought,
They actually interviewed me a very long time ago. Caleb has a very pro setup, and I'm like trying to mirror him. So today we have two GoPro. I cannot afford his expensive cameras. I need to use my personal GoPro. So he's staring at me. Okay, last one. Beginner compact bike recommendations.
Beginner?
Compact bike. I don't know what does compact bike mean. Or maybe let's tweak the question. Beginner road bike recommendation.
In terms of value for money, I would say no one beats Canyon at the moment. Yeah, so I always say that if you can trust the process of going through that, buying online and getting through everything, then consider Canyon, right? Else, I think Comrade as well has their own sort of entry level bikes as well. That's also one, and I think any local bike shop will have an entry level road bike. I wouldn't say no to Decathlon. They do really have good bikes out there as well. Their Van Rysels are good. And so I think really it's just don't think so much about, have a budget, right? And then just go with what's available out there. I think bikes are getting cheaper and cheaper anyway. And then after that, just start riding, right? I mean, if you say you have $3,000 as a budget, then I would say spend the first $500-600 on a bike fit. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Coming back to Decathlon, I know they have the Van Rysel and also the Tri-Band, right? What's the main difference? Is Van Rysel the more premium brand?
I think Van Rysel is the more premium brand, and I think it starts off with the 105 group sets as well. Yeah. So I think it's fairly more mid-level brand as well. Yeah.
Okay. That's the end of questions and everything that I have. Thank you so much, Nick. Any last words to anyone who's watching?
No. Yeah.
All
I
right.
think just go out there, ride, have fun.
Okay. So if anyone sees this DHL bike, you know that he has been on my channel before. Can we get a round of applause for Nick? Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Got drunk,
Thanks.
got realized, and I lost myself again. You hit just like a drug. This time I won't let you in. You're playing with fire. No, I didn't, I'm the prey.